It's finally time for us to talk about my neutral palette series. Time for the final. I'm gonna rate them from worst to best. Okay, so over the last 3-ish months, I have used about 12-ish neutral palettes, and some were fresh purchases. Oh my god. Fuck my drag, am I right? Oh my god. Some of them were new purchases or purchases I already had in my collection from Hopes and Dreams. Most of this was just me being mad that ColourPop kept making neutral palettes. And it's not like they didn't stop. It's not like they stopped while I was doing this. But the neutral palettes that I saw that they came out with, they weren't the traditional neutral palettes that I was covering here. They were all neutral palettes with like a pop of teal with the Star Wars one, or like a neutral with a pop of light blue. And I actually really like the BTS one, but like the new High School Musical one with like a soft touch of red. It just wasn't worth it for me to spend my money on that. But I did get some of these on sale. Some of them I got just as gifts with purchases from ColourPop. And others I wanted to buy because I'm a little gremlin who likes collecting and need an excuse to buy them. So let's get started. Bottom tier. 1, 2, 3. So C tier, but this feels worse. I feel like C tier is too generous for especially these first two. Okay. C tier, Roaring Hearts palette. You notice it's back in its packaging. I hated it so much that I didn't even want the packaging in my collection, and that I plan on donating this to a much fairer skinned friend now that I'm done with this series. Like, I don't know, man. It sucked. It sucked. It didn't work well. The fucking pan size is awkward. It's just like basic white girl central. And I understand why it seemed to come and go like a fart in an elevator. It just unremarkable. Unusable for anyone darker than paper. The person I'm gifting this to, luckily, is a lovely fair-skinned maiden, and I hope that she can get some use out of this, because what the fuck? That's getting yeeted over there. Everything else can go back to where it belongs. Alright, and maybe actually a worse palette, but I'm so emotionally endeared to it. Number 10 is Wild Nothing. Patchy and inconsistent. A nothing burger that should be that should be last, but I'm emotionally endeared to it to this day. This dry, dusty, embarrassing palette. If we'd forgotten what it looks like, I know mine is jank because I've done experiments with it, but like it doesn't even like pull correctly on camera because it's so white, and it's dry like the desert. It is a desert palette with shimmers that don't pay off and reds that don't shadow anything. I can't in good faith give this to anyone because this is an ugly palette, and I'm kind of ashamed that they sell this at Ulta, but it is what it is. 9th place, Off Melrose. Off Melrose, it has no midtones. This is too light for me. 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 And so these are the only two. And I like this. I actually really like how deep this shade goes. However, it's just not, there's nothing I can do with this. I can't take this palette on a trip. I don't think anyone really that's not like, you know, traditional Latinx, light-skinned black person could take this anywhere and do anything with this. I love this glitter. I think that this is an interesting, like, coffee themed-ish, California coffee themed palette. However, it's just not good. This is a smoky eye palette, and I'm just not a smoky eye girl for everyday makeup. This just is not usable as a palette on its own. You know, sniping down to earth would be a blessing for this palette. All right. Those were the 3 palettes that I tried that I truly hated. And you can check out the individual videos in the description. Let's move on to B tier. Bottom of B tier, the Bare Necessities palette. It's so big that it would be hard not to have enough shades and enough like depth. However, I still find that it's really, their mid-tone mattes just don't work, and it's really powdery. Like, I have used this palette like 3 times, and it looks like it has gone to war with me. I don't like these shimmers. They show up really ashy on me, and then these are a little too dark. Like, I want this, but for my skin tone, and that's not what this is. Again, we have the issues of no midtones, where it's like Caucasoid land here, and then like make it work darkies over here, and then these like these like purpley tones. I really like this. It's very similar to Down to Earth, so if you don't want to, if you want this shade but don't want to buy this whole palette, Down to Earth. I hate mattes with shimmers. So a lot of these are really disqualifying for me, but I'm trying to break my fear of them. Velvetine is just like, it pulls gray. This whole palette pulls very gray. This is gray. This is like, you'd think this red area wouldn't be gray, but it's gray. And then this purple, gray, cracked, complicated, and hustle are really kind of a nice combo. But like, it's a lot of shades for it not to be good. That's just my 2 cents on it. Okay, I actually rated this higher, but then I moved it back down because calm down, cowgirl. One and Done. One and Done is a neutral palette that was released while I was doing this series, and I like it a lot, actually. From here on, I kind of like these. Loved all these shades. They show up really well on me. Again, shimmery mattes, not a fan of. But this is good. This is good. This is a multi-chrome. I know this isn't like, the thing is that this is not a solely like neutral palette. So the things I do like about it are the pinks, but this palette is usable for me, and I feel like this is really moving in a positive direction where it's like I can use these 3 shades. I'm really excited about it, and I feel like someone lighter than me can use these shades, and like someone even lighter than that person could use these 3 together, and they could get looks. Multiple types of people can get looks from this palette, and I really, really enjoy it. She's cute. She's real cute. I can't help it. Okay, so I'm gonna have less positive things to say about this, but I feel like this is a stronger palette. Going Coconuts, a classic, but it's a little bit now in the year of our Lord 2022. This palette came out in like 2019, 2018. It's just a little too dark and a little too metallic. It's like matte with a shimmer. I know it's because mine is old at this point, but like all of these are like kind of shimmery. When I do looks with this, it makes me look very Tin Man-y. The video I did with it, I look like I'm going to work. This is a very work appropriate palette if you work in a bank, but it's not very versatile For me, again, we have the issues of only being able to do one type, 3 colors being usable. This one, this one, this one, and then like here or here or here, and then like, it's so icy. It's so icy, baby. Oh, you can't see that, but it's so icy. It's just a very metallic heavy palette that I just don't love. Not anymore. Not as much as I did when I first got it. I just feel like ColourPop has in fact improved and made better palettes. So, yeah. Next one. Going Matte. If you've seen the video I did on the Going Matte's palette, I've described it as a palette that made me feel beautiful. It's so... I love it. I like it a lot. This one is like, it's got another like velvet brown in it, but we have warmth. We have neutral warmth here. We have neutral cool tones here. We have something for the light skinned girls. We have something for the dark skinned girls. We have something for everyone here. And I know they didn't add shimmers because this is a matte palette, but if they wanted to do an all shimmers neutral, just like a cavalcade of shimmers and glitters, I would accept that to pair with this, because I love this. I love how this works. I love making looks with it because it's good, and you see it's not as powdery as the other one. I've used both palettes about the same amount of time picking colors from it, and this is not nearly as absolutely fucked as my Bare Necessities palette is. You know, it's neutrals. It's neutrals to its logical conclusion, and it works, and it's the platonic ideal where if you're gonna have a palette this big, I watch a lot of Abby Williamson's videos, and she talks about how she doesn't like big palettes because she feels overwhelmed with choice. When I look at this palette, I am not overwhelmed with choice, not because there isn't a lot to do or a lot you could do, but because everything is kind of broken up into what could be, different 9-pan groups of what you could be doing, what you're doing, and they overlap in themselves. So it feels like, oh, you take this on a trip and like, oh, here's for your like cool tone outfit, and like here's for your like more warm tone. Oh, here's a 4 quad that you could just slap on your eye and go to the beach. Here's, a set for someone who's lighter, and it gives you the option to have these light brow bone colors, soft whites, without it being like feeling like it's pandering and has a lot of extra white that I just can't use. I really like it. This is the first time I'm opening it in a while. I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot. This is fucking beautiful. Like, it's great. Alright, now with that glowing review, you'd think that we'd be at the top, but we're not. We are now in the A tier. These are like palettes that I reached for. I actually didn't reach for one of these, but I think I will once I make some adjustments. But bottom of A tier, my chair is so squirky, is the Citrus Fizz. Now, I got this palette, it's a quad, and I got this as a free gift with purchase, a mystery gift, in the order that I got my One and Done palette in. And I was just like, oh, another neutral palette, well, that's cool. That will get me to the amount of palettes I want to do. And I was just like, oh, I'll just try it on a whim. And it's really good. I really like the shimmers are nice and flattering on me. They're not like terribly icy. They're obviously made for like, everybody use. But like, I feel like both of these bridge a gap on colors, and then there's like a crease color, and then like a lid color, and then like a lid shimmer happening. My only note was that I don't love this peach color and wish it was softer, like a soft brown. But that problem is remedied by number 3, the Color Vision palette, which I know this palette got clowned on by a lot of people, including me. I clowned on it in a video because why is this a neon palette? But you know, I like the pink. The pink shows up really good on me, but I love how it's got this deep color and then a step and then a step and then a shimmer. It's like, here's a crease color for a lighter skinned person and then a lid color and then like a shimmer. Here is a crease color for someone darker, and like then you have a step, and then this, it just works. It works really well for me. I did not pick up the other two. I don't believe they are available anymore. But like this, I really like, and I think I want to like replace, like, I want to replace one of the colors in here with that brown from the Citrus Fizz palette because I like it. It's so much in this, and I feel like it's really useful. It's just like I could just slap this in there, boop 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 boop, a look, a day to night look, and then I can go. But like the pink is nice, the pink is cute. I really didn't expect to like this one as much as I did, but I did. It was really cool. All right, there are 2 palettes left, and our number 2. And number 1 and number 2 are like battling it out. But my number 2 is my Grandeur palette. I love this palette. My first video I did talking about it, I loved it. My video that I was wearing it in, I couldn't stop gushing about how much I love this palette. And when I, you know, even right now, it's perfect. This is the first time I got a palette like period, because before I was using almost exclusively ColourPop eyeshadows. I was using almost exclusively Anastasia Beverly Hills, and I never found a nude like brown that I could just like slap on and get like a sexy like put together look without having to do like too much work. And then like using like Maude and Dusk and Velvet, that just works perfectly for me. Like, oh, you want to do like a smokier eye, you can throw Jolie in there. Oh, you want to add a little like green to the bottom lash line, make your eyes pop. Like any girl with brown eyes, I don't believe ColourPop is still selling this. Find it. It's so good. This is my favorite. Like, I'm gonna cry when these browns leave me. House is just like such a pretty champagne. It's just like, it's just soft on the lid. You could just slap it on there. Lavish, I don't particularly love like a colored shimmer, but Lavish is really nice. The glitter excess is, oh, it feels like sand, but in like a luxurious way. It's just like glitter. It's just glitter, bitch. I really love this palette. It is like a pride and joy. When I traveled last year, was like, oh, no brainer, this is coming with me. I need a brown. I need the brown. If I need something that's gonna like really look nice and soft in the crease, this is the palette I'm gonna go for. And you might be thinking, Megan, with all this praise, what could be number 1? It's the Here You Go Niggas Wild Child palette. I have true beef with this palette. I feel like it burnt a lot of bridges in a lot of communities and made a lot of people feel unwelcome. However, you know, when they hit, it's proof that if they wanted to, they could. ColourPop, I need you to bust out some more of these. Wild Child is kind of what happened after people were like, these neutral palettes, no one darker than sand can use them, do something about it. And so they did, and like, this is like so soft. It's like, it's got steps for people who are darker than me. It's got just like, oh, hard to get. I'm wearing just Ground Crew on my lid, and because I just wanted something just to make me feel like a video vixen, just like brown, soft and brown. It's caramel. My beef with this palette truly comes down to aesthetics and timing. The fact that it was, hey darkies, come get your meal. And the fact that it's African themed, because I feel like making the only like truly brown skin like friendly palette be the one that is Africa themed, being giraffe themed, is a little on the nose, a little bit ColourPop. You could have done better with that. You could have made literally better choices with that, but it is what it is. They did what they did. I held out on buying this for a long time because I am kind of, they're always making me regret it with some of the stuff they put out. I'm kind of collecting the plastic tin 9 pans. I really like them, and so I collect them. But this one is just like so pretty. Now that I have it, I'm like, oh, you dumb wily bitch, why'd you wait so long for it? But it's like, because they were joking in my face. They were playing my face. And now I'm just like, well, you should have let them. They were right. But I love how warm and brown and deep this is. It just is for me. It's so pretty. It's got the same, like, Lashes has the same, like, glitter as, like, Grandeur with Excess, where it's just like, it feels like playing in kinetic sand, and then it just like rolls onto the skin. Fierce is satisfying, like gold color, bronzy gold. It's just nice. It's so good, and just like having it on tan skin, on warm skin, like I have very neutral undertones, so I can kind of lean either way, but I never lean cool. I love how just like warm this is, and I'm angry that this was literally the last palette I tried, and it's also the best. Like, truly, I had a time about it. Yeah, I enjoyed doing this series. I kind of was just like, I'm gonna do what I want to do, and what I want to do is spend money, and so that's what I did a little bit. But I bought things and I talked about things that I really enjoyed. Actually, I didn't. There were multiple times and multiple palettes that caused me to have a breakdown. This again, honestly, this as well. But it was just like I'm Roaring Heights. But I really enjoyed this, and I'm glad I got some of these surprises. I have a lot of color palettes, but I didn't previous to this have a lot of neutrals that could like really get me through the day. So it's nice to have these. Not in this series, but kind of. I have the like Fire Sign collection 4-quad. I like all of these. They're red. They're like warm tone because they're like fire signs, but they're all pretty neutral, and they're very flattering on a range of skin tones. Like all together, they're very flattering on a range of skin tones. So I really like them. This was in my top. I don't remember how high up it was. This was in my top for ColourPop palettes last year, and like you can see how deep these get, where it's like this is very Caucasian, but like these are very deep and they show up very nicely on the skin. So that's nice. I just remembered this also super nice, like neutral. This is much more Caucasian. Honestly, they're like Caucasians. They're like sisters, two different daddies, and like this one's got a black dad and this one's got a white dad, because they're both around the same like tones, but not fully like totally the same, like on the spectrum of all of those. And then like this palette I reviewed, and I in my neutral palette, because it felt pretty neutral. Like honestly, this, I want to say it feels like chalk, and every time I go to talk shit about it, I'm reminded that like that the way you think this is gonna show up on view me is how that actually shows up. This actually does have a great deal more like color theory to it, so I really like it. Oh my god. Who popped? God, weird. And then like it's like this one with like weird browns and like golds in it and stuff. It's just like ColourPop has like a wide variety of crap that they push out. Crap being a general term, not like a negative, that I really enjoy. And so it was really nice to go back through them and find something where it's like, okay, so maybe X isn't going to work with you always, but you have a wider range of palettes that I think are going to work. Honestly, like my overarching recommendation is the Gone Matte, like for all skin tones. But if you're like me shade, it's Grandeur. If you're a little darker than me, it's Wild Nothing. And if you're feeling like getting at me, bitch, and if you're feeling like I gotta get down with the sickness, the pale sickness, it's Wild Nothing, because maybe it does something. I don't know. I wouldn't give that to my worst enemy, so whatever. Yeah, that's all for this last video for this. I just really wanted to make a end cap because I started off, I think in February, where I made the video where I'm just like, I'm bored of ColourPop. I'm bored of their like I'm bored with their stupid neutral palettes. Either way, I really like doing this. You can check out my entire Mild World of ColourPop neutral palettes playlist here. And I'm gonna put in whatever's best for you, babes. Whatever Susan Wojcicki thinks is best for you is going to appear here for you. You could subscribe generally where my face is. Holy crap, I'm getting to it. You can follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at Megan_Blush_. Yes, God. And you can find me on Pinterest, keyword Meglina. Yeah, this was a fun time. This was an interesting way to spend 3 months, but I wouldn't change it for the world. And I did have to have self-control because there were plenty of times I went to my local Ulta and saw that they had that like fruit-themed quad set, and they just have like one really deep brown in their cracking coconuts or something. It's like a bootleg going coconuts, and I like already knew what I was gonna say about it because it's just like going coconuts but tiny. It's just like XYZ but tiny, and that's the issue with those. You can find them for a better deal in a bigger palette with more colors. Alright. How did I get shimmer on my chin? How did that happen? Party. Alright, bye guys. Bye.